in a very busy metropolitan area. My name is Ralph Peterson, and I own and operate the management services company that provides both housekeeping and laundry services here at The Standard. In this video series, I am going to walk you through a sort of step-by-step guide on how we clean and disinfect The Standard on a daily, weekly, monthly, and even an annual basis. I am not going to leave anything out. I'm going to show you how we start, how we break down all the job routines, how we create workflows, how we do inspections, how we handle discharges and admissions, how we clean precaution rooms, how we handle being short-staffed, how we onboard staff. Literally everything you need to know to clean your nursing home, we do here at The Standard, and I'm going to show you exactly what it is we do, how we do it, and why we do it. Everyone, happy Monday. Happy Monday. Happy Monday. It is Happy Monday. Everyone, happy Monday. Happy Monday. It's 16, and 116 is not able to do, but they know that room 220 can be done. They can go ahead and change. They'll go ahead and do 120 and let me know that they're going to have to reschedule 116 for the next day. Right? It gives your housekeeper the ability to make some decisions to problem solve. Trust me, this is the best way to go about it. I've been doing this for a long time, and communicating and giving your housekeepers the ability to make some decisions on their own is worth its weight in gold. I guarantee it. I have one for every scenario. I have a daily job routine when I'm fully staffed. I have it when I only have one housekeeper. I have it when I don't have a floor tech. I have it when I don't have a laundry person. What happens to every position? I have those all planned out, all written out. They're not foolproof, but it's super important to have these modified work schedules pre-planned so that you know what you're going to be handling before you get into those situations. This third week of the month is usually the busiest month for housekeeping managers. We have an awful lot going on the third week of each month. However, you throw in Christmas, the holiday of all holidays, and it just makes our week that much busier. So let's get to it. We don't have a lot of time to go over everything this morning, and I want to make sure that you start thinking about everything that we have to have done before the end of the year, which is only 2 weeks away. System on how we fundamentally look at housekeeping as a system and how we manage it from a leadership system point of view. It's a really fantastic, easy kind of way of learning how we lead the organization, how we take our housekeeping department and how it interworks with all the other departments, and how we solve problems, how we manage the department, all through this leadership system. In this video, I'm going to talk all about the laundry operations here at the Standard Health and Rehab, from the beginning all the way to the end. Or actually, I'm going to start at the end and work backwards all the way to the beginning. But first, let me start at the end. That's laundry operation. It comes out of a resident room or a shower room, off of a resident, from a nurse, into the soil utility room. The floor tech picks it up in a soil utility bin. We keep it covered. We bring it down to the laundry room. The laundry aide sorts it into 3 different bins. They puts it in we have 2 60-pound washers. Those 2 60-pound washers get divided up into 3 75-pound dryers, and then it gets washed, dry, folded, and counted, put on a rack, and delivered back. And it is a cycle. This happens every cycle. This keeps going on and on and on. Middle of the month of January, and this is going to be maybe even an exciting week here at the Standard Health and Rehab, because rumor has it we are going to be having a mock survey. Ooh. It is February 8th, 2021, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are Super Bowl world champions. Great, good for them. Here's what's challenging for us. Super Bowl Monday, that is the day after the Super Bowl Sunday, is the #1 day where everyone calls out. It is the most common day that everyone calls out from work. At the end of this video series, you should have no questions about how to break down each job routine, how to conduct workload studies, in addition to wheelchair cleaning and scheduling floor care assignments and buffing and stripping and waxing, and winter's coming and oy vey, everything is going to be going over in this video series. If you would like more information about the programs and services we offer here at the Standard Health and Rehab, you can go to thestandardhealthandrehab.com, or you can email me directly at info@ralphpeterson.com. Well, there it is. There's the live little video. We're about to start our radio program all about operational effectiveness here on the Ralph Peterson radio program. India, if you wouldn't mind, could you let me know to ensure that I am indeed live on social, because I'm about to go live on IBGR. Please. And let me start my timer. Everything looks good. Perfect. Thank you, India. And here we go. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Ralph Peterson radio program. I am your host, the lovable Ralph Peterson. Yay! I need some background music or something. Today's show is brought to you by the Standard Health and Rehab for all of your housekeeping management training needs in long-term care. There is some discussion about branching out into other industries, not leaving housekeeping, but maybe talking about how to manage housekeeping in hospitals, in hotels, in ski resorts and condos, which is where I grew up. That's where I started doing it first, but just expanding beyond long-term care. But for now, we're going to focus exclusively on long-term care because it is the industry I know the absolute most. In this week's show, we're very excited. Such a great show because we're all talking about operational effectiveness. If this is your first time here, welcome to the Ralph Peterson radio program. This is an operational radio show where we all talk about business operations, everything from how to run a business to how to make sure your business is running, to problem solving, you name it. When it comes to business operations, we discuss it here on the Ralph Peterson Radio Show. I should also add that this is being brought to you by IBGR. IBGR.network is the place for you to go if you want to join us in the pursuit of being an entrepreneur, in the pursuit of growing your own business. This is the year. 2021 is the year for you. This is the time to start thinking honestly about starting your own business, going out on your own, doing it incrementally. You don't have to jump all the way in. By the way, that's one of the things that I think really helped me be successful in making that transition from being an employee to being an employer, is I didn't just jump in. I didn't just quit my job and run out the door with an idea and a prayer. I actually worked on it nights and weekends. All I did every night, every weekend, when I woke up in the morning, I would get up super early and I would work on this business idea I had until I could finally, I was even having clients. I got business out of it. And then I eventually, my part-time gig was able to help me get away from my full-time job, my full-time gig. And that's how I did it. And that is how I recommend you start doing it. So whatever business idea you have, first start getting it fully actualized, start getting customers, start building it, start selling it, start figuring out what kind of product or service you're going to be having, and do it while you have a full-time job. But I'm telling you, if you're interested in owning your own business, if you're interested in being a more successful entrepreneur, business owner, this is the place for you. IBGR, this radio station is so cool in the sense that all it is, and by all it is, meaning specifically what it is a business platform made by business owners for other business owners. I mean, how cool is that? It is a radio program 5 days a week, by the way. We're 7 days a week, but they do some repeats. But this isn't just my show. My show's 1 hour a week. It's Tuesdays at 1 p.m. But this radio program goes on and on and on from all over the world. I think we're in something like 160 countries. There's broadcasters from all over the world. And they talk about everything business related, everything from an entrepreneur, from the business owner's perspective, to entrepreneurs, to business owners' perspective. It is a great, great place. It doesn't matter if you need help in people management, in finance, in sales, in marketing, in operations, you name it. You can find it here at IBGR. So go to ibgr.network and you can find out how to become part of our community. Also, for those who are listening and want to interact with the show, you can go to ibgr.network. On the bottom right-hand corner, there is a flashing yellow, maybe it's orange, question mark. And in that question mark, you can click that question mark. You can leave a comment. You can leave a question. You can engage with me. You can engage with any of the hosts here at IBGR. And also, we are streaming live right now on YouTube and on Facebook and I think on Twitter. And so if you want to see what I look like, you can go to my account, go to IBGR's account, go to Ralph Peterson, the Ralph Peterson on Facebook. And it's just Ralph Peterson on YouTube. And you can watch live as we do the radio program. And one of the things I really like to do during the program is I like to look at business news. I like to see what's going on in the world and try to relate it to what it is we're talking about. Each week we have a different topic. And this week we're talking about all about operational effectiveness. And one of the things I got to say is I don't play the lottery. Let me just put this out there. I don't play the lottery. And it's funny because everyone in my family plays the lottery. My brother, my sister, my mom, they all play they're constant. I have the worst, maybe it's the best. I don't know. It depends on who's telling the story. I would say I have the worst bingo story in the world. My sister, though, would say that she has the best bingo story in the world. And of course, we're both talking about the same instant, and we're talking about me. From my perspective, it was embarrassing and odd, and it was terrible. From her perspective, across the way from me, she probably thought it was the funniest thing she'd ever seen. That is, I am not good at the game of bingo. I didn't understand the game of bingo. I didn't understand they played like a four corners thing or something. I don't know. 30 seconds in, I stood up and yelled bingo, and everybody laughed at me because there was apparently no chance that I was able to get bingo. That basically ruined me for all kinds of like those quick, fast money, lottery ticket, scratch off things. I just simply have never been interested in that kind of thing. It's not that I've never bought a lottery ticket, but I just don't invest I just don't do it. I don't play the slot machines. I don't gamble. I'm just not that person. However, there's this woman in Texas. No, she's not in Texas. Get this story. She's from Texas. A woman is in the Las Vegas airport. Now, I got to tell you, I have been in the Las Vegas airport a dozen times, and I have seen the slot machines at the Vegas airport, and I always thought they were kind of like a novelty thing. I thought they were like, welcome to Vegas. This is what you're going to find when you get here. It's going to be all about slot machines and gambling and going to shows and that kind of thing, buffets or whatever, like everything's larger than life in Vegas. And so I've never stopped to even take a second look at the slot machines. Again, I thought they were kind of like just for show. Turns out, not only are they not for show, but you can actually win big. A Texas woman hit over $300,000. She won $300,000 or over $300,000. While waiting for her flight at the Las Vegas airport. She's on her way home. She just decides to sit at the slot machine. $302,000 was her final tally. You got to be kidding me. You got to be kidding me. Who knew? I got to tell you, this guy did not know how many times I've been in the Las Vegas airport. I'm now considering. I got to read that article. I don't know how much money she spent on it. I don't know. Was it a penny slot, a dime, a nickel, a quarter, a dollar? I have no idea. I was with some friends at Mohegan Sun, which is a casino in Connecticut, and they stopped. They sat at one of those lottery machines, like this whole it's like a whole ballroom full of lottery machines. And I'm like, I'm going to go to the bar, I'm going to get a drink. And by the time that I'll give you that I had a small wait, to get in line and get to the bar and get some drinks or whatever. But it wasn't that long. I mean, it really wasn't that long. It's like 6:00 at night. It's not busy. It's not packed. So it wasn't that long. By the time I came back, he had already lost $100 on the slot machine. And we're talking like 10 minutes. I was like, what are we doing with our lives? That you're losing. Oh, you're spending $100 in 10 minutes. That's $1 a minute enjoyment. As a matter of fact, I took a tour. I know this is random, but I took a tour in Las Vegas, and one of the tour was all about going to Hoover Dam, and it was like a bus tour, and it was kind of fun, going to see the Grand Canyon, all this stuff. And the guy who was doing the tour, like the bus driver had a little microphone there. He said to keep in mind that gambling is purely entertainment, and yet you shouldn't be here looking to win money. You shouldn't be here looking to, exactly lose money. You should just be looking at it as an entertainment thing. You're here to have fun and be entertained, and gambling is part of the entertainment. Just like going to a show, it's going to cost you, $50, $75, $100 to go to a show. You consider it, that would be a worthwhile expense. That's the same way you should look at gambling in these casinos. And I was like, oh, that makes sense. And then I see my buddy spend $100 in 10 minutes. I was like, that's not the kind of entertainment that I thought we were getting here. That's kind of a business plan. $100 in 10 minutes. But apparently you can win big. You can win hundreds of thousands of dollars, $302,000 sitting at the airport in Vegas. But there you go. So to each his own. Everybody got something they want to do. If you want to play the lottery, if that's your mission. Actually, I know a guy whose dad won the lottery, and he said that it kind of retarded as in slowed down the development of their family business, because they were doing one thing and then they got this windfall of money, and so they all stopped working, stopped trying so hard. It's like interesting how money, especially like when it comes in unexpectedly all at once. I also read this statistic that most lottery winners go broke very quick within a couple of years. It doesn't matter how many millions of dollars that they win, they lose it or spend it all quite quickly. And it has to do with this comfortability of spending and all this stuff. I don't know. Well, I'm going to stop talking about the lottery and these winnings and stop stressing on this woman who won $300,000. Good for her. Good for her. Only the best wishes for her. But for us, we're going to earn our money the good old-fashioned way. So come back on the other side of this quick little break, and we'll talk more. Okay, India, we're all good? That is good. Good. Just checking over my notes, friends. Just checking over my notes. $2:17:30 is when we're going back, for those who are trying to keep track of the clock. Thank you, India. All right, here we go. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Ralph Peterson Radio program, the program for business entrepreneurs by a business entrepreneur. That is me. Let me ask you a question. Who do you think is the number one competitor on a large scale? We're talking business to business competitor. Who is the number one competitor to Amazon? I'll wait. Go ahead. Who do you think who is the number one biggest competitor to Amazon? Now, before you answer, I want you to take into a couple of things. Number one, we're talking about what Amazon does the best. What does Amazon do the best? Amazon doesn't just get you the products that you need. That is one thing that they do really well, but they also get you those products very quickly. Can we agree? If there's two things that Amazon does really well, it's get you products that you want, and it also gets them to you quickly. Who is their number one competitor? I got to tell you, when I figured it out, no, it's not Google. Google's a good response. Google's not bad, except Google doesn't deliver. So you can find anything on Google, but nobody delivers anything on Google. Google doesn't have delivery yet. Although I did hear that Google is in the process of making an electric car, a Google electric car. And Elon Musk, follow Elon Musk on Twitter, and you would find out Elon Musk is the one talking about it. Elon Musk is the one saying, who's working on an electric car, because Google hasn't made an announcement, but Elon Musk says he knows someone who knows someone who knows someone, and, he probably knows. And I didn't know, I got to tell you, I did not know who was the number one competitor to Amazon, and it's surprising to me who it is, and it is Walmart. Walmart. Can you believe that? Raise your hand if you knew that. Yeah, nobody knew that. I did not know that. You might have known that. Walmart is the number one competitor. However, everybody, Target is vying for the business. Krollers, the food chain. There's all kinds of big players in the market space right now who are trying to compete with Amazon. Amazon, again, does two things. They provide you a lot of products that you want, and they provide it for you very fast. And if you're a Prime member, we're talking free delivery. Don't even charge you a delivery fee, and we're talking 7 days a week. Walmart is their number one competitor. That shows the reach and the magnitude, I think, of how fantastic Walmart is, because Walmart has always been, I'm 50. So, let me just give you some context. In my short years here on the planet, Walmart has always been like the growing mega superstore of all superstores. They've outgrown everybody. But in the last year or two, 3, 4 years even, especially in 2020, let's not lie, especially in 2020, who the heck's talking about Walmart? Nobody. Everybody's talking about how fantastic Amazon is. Amazon this and Amazon that, and Amazon this and Amazon that. Not once did I ever consider who's competing with Amazon and who has a chance against Amazon, because it seems like Amazon rules the world at this point. But Walmart is actually doing a really, really good job at competing with Amazon. So first of all, Walmart, as you probably already know, they are the largest chain department store in the world, but they certainly are in the United States.
My apologies.
All right, don't apologize. They have 100. This is something, again, looking at the numbers, it's amazing to me. Walmart has 160,000 items. 160,000 items. Now, I did not go and try to find out how many items are on Amazon. Who knows? I'm sure it's perhaps more than 160,000. But you just think about that. Walmart.com has 160,000 items for sale. Let that sink in. Walmart.com, 160,000 items. And here's the thing. They are offering, and they have been offering, Walmart started competing with Amazon in early 2020, actually late 2019, for delivery services, where you even know, this is even before 19. This is 2015, 2016, where you could, first it was, remember, you could go online and you could pre-shop, and then you could drive to the store and they would have your groceries for you. And they'd even put it in the back of your car for you. They would like do the shopping for you. That was like a pretty new thing, a new way to use the internet and shopping online and apps and all that. And then it became a delivery service where they would deliver food for you, deliver items for you. But the thing that Walmart has always had to hold on to, they felt they've always had to hold on to, where Amazon didn't, is at Walmart always had a delivery fee. And that delivery fee, although it was only $35, and it wasn't a fee. It's not like you have to pay $35 to Walmart to have something delivered. That's not it. They required you to buy $35 worth of products to qualify for free delivery. And Amazon doesn't have that. Amazon, you can buy something for 99 cents and they'll deliver it to you for free if you're an Amazon Prime member, which is fairly inexpensive when you think of the cost of shipping, especially the cost of shipping nowadays, where the U.S. Postal Service is, I don't know if any of you have been paying attention and actually going out and trying to use the mail service or relying on the mail service to get something, but they are in a death spiral. Their services they're really struggling to get normal everyday things delivered on time. If you're sending a check out to somebody to pay a light bill or something, and they call you in a couple of weeks and say, we haven't got that light bill yet, just so you know, that's happening all over the country, where the United States Postal Service is having trouble delivering mail. They're really, really struggling. I think they're billions of dollars in debt a year. It's a crazy thing. But there's a huge cost to shipping products. And Walmart just announced that they are effective immediately. They are no longer requiring that $35 minimum order. And it's interesting when we're talking about, because today's show is all about business effectiveness, operational effectiveness. How do you know your business is being effective? How do you know that you're providing the right goods and services for your customer? How do you know that you're on the right track? That is such an important question. It's something that, as a business owner myself, it's something that I have to look at regularly. I was just talking to a friend of mine who said that they do it every month. Every month they have a an operational effectiveness meeting where they call in a bunch of people that, work in that business, and they go, okay, what are we doing right? What can we improve on? What's working? What isn't working on? They spend an entire day trying to make sure that their business effectiveness is aligned. Because, you could have the best product or best service in the world. If there are some hindrances for your customers to be getting it, then how often are they going to buy? How much are they going to recommend? What are they going to use? All of that stuff is hurt if you're not being the most effective possible in your operation. So it's important to know. It's an important subject to talk about, and it's super important, or not important. I just think it's super relevant to study companies like Walmart. It's important, I think, to study companies like Amazon, McDonald's, Coca-Cola, you name the company. And I think it's very Coca-Cola. I think I might have told a story on the show once before about Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola, what a great company to study. And I'm not getting political. I don't care about what they're doing now. I know that they're in the news. I know they're making headlines over some kind of, I don't know if it's sensitivity training or anti-something. I don't know. Doesn't matter. That's not what I mean. I'm not talking about them as a social organization. Don't care about Coca-Cola as a social organization. I mean, from a business point of view, just looking at the bare bones of their business is what I'm interested in for this discussion anyway. Did you know Coca-Cola sells 1.8 billion cans of soda a day? Think about that. 1.8 billion cans of soda a day. Now, if you can imagine, if you just break down business operations and you start thinking about everything that they have to do in order to sell 1.8 billion Cokes a day, they have to manufacture it. They have to deliver it. They have to have all these. They have to manufacture the soda. They have to bottle it, put it in cans and bottles, and then they have to put that in cardboard boxes or other crates or other mechanisms to deliver it. Then they have to get it out to all of these stores and vending machines and schools and stadiums and churches and you name it, wherever. I don't think I've ever seen a soda machine in a church. It doesn't matter. You know what I mean? Like they have to get it out to everyone and everywhere. Think about how big of an operation just the delivery of the Coke products is. Just the delivery and a wrong left turn, a wrong right turn, a traffic, an accident, a weather incident. All these things can delay that can have a major impact on one part of the delivery process or the product making process over another. And I know I'm coming up against the time here. Consider this. If Coca-Cola was able to save 1 penny across the board, 1 penny, that is, they were able to make 1 additional penny without charging you more. They're not going to charge you more, but just spending 1 penny less across the board per Coke, they would increase their profits by $18 million a day. $18 million a day would be made by Coke if they could reduce their or get more effective and efficient in their business operations. So is it worth it? It's worth it. It's worth it. I think I'm going long. I don't mean to be going long, Bill. I know you're watching the clock on me, and I appreciate that. But my apologies. Coming back at 32:30. We still all good, India? Thank you. I'm going to stand for the latter half of the show. Move the big chair. Raise the big desk. Let's get it on. Let's get on with it. All right, friends, here we go. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Ralph Peterson Radio program. I am sitting here flipping through a magazine, and it just makes me ask you this question. Who buys magazines anymore? Who is reading? Who is flipping through a magazine? You can't even find them. I was at the dentist recently, and I'll give you that it's during a pandemic and the coronavirus, and there's every other chair is turned the opposite direction, and there aren't any more magazines out to be read. I was actually at an army base recently because I needed to get my new ID, my DOD ID, and they had a bunch of stuff that you could take, but they had some magazines that you could read. They had information about the military that you could take with you, family stuff and all that. But a big sign on it said, if you take it, you keep it. So they weren't even asked if you picked up the People magazine, you owned that People magazine for the rest of your life. They did not want you to put it back. So I thought that was quite interesting. But other than, and I'm sure it's still a big business because, you go to the grocery store and there's still those rack of magazines right in the front. My question is, if you think about the magazine business, and the reason I even think about magazines is, again, we're talking about operational effectiveness and how do you know whether or not your business is being effective or not. I was actually listening to a story about calendars, not magazines, but calendars. And kind of magazines and calendars are kind of the same. If they're not the same, and I know they're not the same, they could be sold in the same way. And the strategy for selling a calendar is very closely tied to the same strategy designed to sell magazines or even chocolate bars. Where do you find a magazine? You find them in two places in a store. You either find them all grouped together like a whole rack of magazines, usually by the stationery. So there might be some paperback books, there might be some greeting cards, and there will be some magazines. How many of us go to that magazine rack to buy a magazine accidentally? The answer is basically about zero. There's not a lot of people who accidentally run into a magazine when the magazines are in the stationery department of a grocery store per se. However, those same magazines, if put next to the cash register, and they have a nice catching little photo or a tagline, or somebody's divorcing somebody, or somebody's getting married, or somebody's leading to trouble in some way, or if there's a princess, by gosh, then that magazine, the profits of that, the sale of that magazine goes up by 80%. 80% difference from a magazine in the stationery aisle to being next to the cash register. Now, when you're talking about operations, you're talking about business effectiveness, that's the kind of thing I'm talking about. Understanding, looking at where your customers are, where your products are in relation to your customer, and trying to figure out the best way to get as close as possible, get in front of your customer. The calendar, the annual calendar, I think is the best example of this, because nobody buys an annual calendar 4 months into the year. Come April, May, all the calendars for 2021, you might as well throw them away if you're in the store, because generally nobody's going to buy a calendar for the last 6 months of the year. When then do you buy a new calendar? Most people buy a new calendar between the day of December 1st till January 15th, about the middle of January. That is your only sweet spot, or your biggest sweet spot, for calendar purchasing. And why do people buy calendars between December 1st and January 15th? Most calendars are not purchased for single use. In other words, it is unlikely that you would find me going into a store and buying myself a pretty calendar. What would I be doing instead? Buying a calendar for a friend as a gift, because a calendar is a gift, especially a desk calendar, a funny calendar, an insightful calendar, a yoga calendar, or whatever calendar. Make great gifts. And when do we ever think, does who ever thinks calendar when they're thinking about buying somebody a gift? The answer is almost nobody thinks of a calendar. So how do you buy calendars? When you're going up to the grocery line, you're walking up, or you're in a department store, Walmart does this, Target does this, your local grocery store does this. They'll have at the beginning of December, they will start having these calendars on a rotating rack right by the cash register. It's one of those things you don't even think about until you see it, and you're like, oh my gosh, you know who loves dogs? My friend Kathy loves dogs. And all of a sudden they're shopping for calendars. They're going to get a calendar for her friend Kathy because it has dogs on it, and now it's a gift. And that's, again, business operations. If you are in the calendar business, if you are in the car business, if you are in, my wife just bought a new car. Got to say this. It was such an interesting situation to be at a car dealership. I haven't been at a car dealership in a long time, and just paying attention, not only to how the salesperson was working with my wife and trying to be friendly and trying to sell and not oversell and not undersell. And, you don't have a lot of time to build this customer, relationship that is, you got to quickly develop it, and it either falls apart quickly or it's developed into a sale. And it's such a tricky thing. But what's interesting is watching how, not just how my wife was interacting with the salesperson, but also there were a bunch of salespeople working with a bunch of different customers, and there were a bunch of salespeople not working with any customers. And it was just an interesting watching the ebb and the flow, and watching how people are trying to get customers, and people are trying to coddle customers, and people are trying to answer customer questions. And the guy beside me was very upset over the deal they were trying to give him, and he thought it was ridiculous. And it was like, there's raised voices, and there's attitudes, and then there's some joking. And car dealership, my gosh, it is. I got to say, my buddy Devin is a GM at a dealership, and I, just sitting in that dealership for, half the day, honestly, just sitting in that dealership for half the day, I don't know that I could take the stress of working at a dealership. I mean, it is, 1 minute people love you, the next minute people hate you, 1 minute people believe and trust and confide in you, the next minute they think you're ripping them off. I mean, it's a hostile environment in there. I gotta say, it seemed like a pretty hostile environment. But again, when you're talking about business and operational effectiveness, everything is on play. Everything is in play here. From what cars are in the front of the lot, what cars are actually in the showroom, the pricing of the cars. Every car has a price tag on it, and nobody uses that price when they get to the negotiation table. It's almost like a starting point, like a reference point. It's an interesting dynamic. It's just so, and again, we've talked about it on the show before. There's a lot of car places, a lot of places have gone online where you can now buy cars strictly online. You don't have to deal with anybody. You just buy the car, they deliver it to you in the front of the house. I mean, it's quite an amazing thing. I got to tell you, after going again, watching my wife buy a car, I think that's exactly how I do it. I'm just going to order a car online. So I'm going to do. I'm just going to order a car online. But business operations, when you're talking about business effectiveness and you're trying to figure out how it is that you can be the most effective and the most efficient, let me ask you this. How do you even know? How do you even know if you are being effective? How do you know if you have an effective or an efficient operation? And I don't mean efficient, because I don't want to talk about efficiency. Efficiency is a whole nother thing. It's not exactly what I want to. Effectiveness versus efficient is different, because you can be very effective. You can sell a car and have 5 salespeople work on the same deal and be effective. You want to be efficient, try to figure out how to get one person to sell that car, right? So you spend less money selling that car. That's the efficient part. And that's not what I want to talk about. I just want to talk about effectiveness. How effective are you in selling cars? How effective are you in delivering the service? I gotta be honest, let me say this. I own an online university, an online school for housekeeping managers and long-term care nursing home administrators. It's a train the trainer kind of program where people log in, and every week we communicate, every week we put emails together, every week we do videos, every week we do training sessions, and every week my assistant and I, India, we are watching who's opening our emails. Who's reading them? Who's watching the content? Who's clicking on the videos? Who's going through to the worksheets? Who's taking the tests? Who's filling out the forms? And who isn't? And we take that number and we try to find out why those who are not doing it. Because it doesn't help our business if we're providing you with a service and you're not using it. That's not helpful. It's not helpful to you. It is certainly not helpful to us. And it makes us be ineffective. And we don't want to be ineffective. So we track who's opening emails, who's logging in, how often they're logging in, whether they read the whole email or watch the whole video or just part of the video. You can there's all those analytics. You can see if somebody's watching the video from beginning to end, or if they're only watching 3 minutes of it or 30 seconds of it. And what we do in response, because that's the point of paying attention. What we do in response is we have a video, and these are all private videos, by the way. You have to be in the school. You have to be an enrolled student to get the videos. If you're only spending 3 minutes on a 10-minute video, and some people are spending 8 minutes on a 10-minute video, or if we make a 5-minute video, I'm out of time again. Right when I get into the good stuff, I run out of time. We'll be right back. I'm going to finish this story, and I'm going to talk a little bit about Rush Limbaugh. That's right, I said it. I'm going to talk about Rush Limbaugh when I get back. My last segment, I could talk about Rush Limbaugh. Segment for the day, anyway. Last segment for the day. 144. Darn it. 'If you're watching me online and I keep looking this and this and this, it's because I have multiple screens. I'm not ignoring you. I'm reading other screens. Mm-hmm. 1:47:30 for those needing to know the time that we're going to go back on. It looks like a beautiful day out there. Well, it's 30 degrees. So it's not, I'll tell you, a lot warmer than it is. And it's not going to get any warmer today. All right. Here we go. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Ralph Peterson Radio program. Our final segment, our final piece of the program today. And let me jump backwards just a quick minute and go back to the Walmart thing just to clear that up. Walmart being the number 2 contender to Amazon, their biggest competitor at this moment. Walmart dropped the $35 minimum fee for one reason: to compete with Amazon. And that is, again, operational effectiveness. They are, I think it's just one of the greatest examples. I'm not the biggest fan of undercutting. I'm not the biggest fan of reducing your price to undercut another price, because, especially by a large amount of money, because it takes money out of your pocket. I think you should go with the market, but Walmart did undercut Amazon's price. Amazon, I think, is like $120 for the Amazon Prime, but you get Amazon Prime streaming, you get music, you get videos, you get movies, you get programming. I love Amazon Prime. I watch Amazon Prime all the time. And, we buy everything on Amazon, of course, and free delivery. Walmart, they undercut it just $98 a year. But they didn't do that. They didn't just recently did that. They actually did that beforehand. Maybe last year they went to a delivery service like all year, $98. But they also still always had that $35 minimum fee, which, because they're operational effective, because they were tracking their operational effectiveness, they recognized how ineffective that was in competing with Amazon. Walmart just recently dropped it. And so now there's, I think, 1,000 Walmart stores that will have a product delivered to your house for no minimum charge. Oh, you do have to be a member for $98, but $98 a year. I mean, it's like $12 a month. It's super inexpensive. But you can get something delivered today if you needed something today. Now, I know that for a long time, I didn't understand the value of that, because what's the big deal about going to the store? But think about the elderly. Think about people who have, you don't even have to be elderly. Think of people who have a medical injury, like they can't lift heavy things. Groceries can be quite heavy. Dog food can be really heavy. And imagine being able to have it delivered to your house, to your front door. Does that make it easier for you? I'm telling you, it makes it a lot easier for a lot of people. And so now Walmart is offering this service where you can literally just order the stuff that you need: medicine, diapers, dog food, you name it, and they'll deliver it to your house in a day. That's pretty great operational effectiveness. That's the day and age we live in. It's hard to imagine that there are still people who find things to complain about when you can have diapers delivered to your door. Come on, or dog food or medicine or whatever. I think it's pretty fantastic. But operational effectiveness, how do you know that you are being effective in your operations? And that is a great question to end on. It's a great thing to talk about before we end the show. And that's what I was talking about before I went into the break, about how we look at our operational effectiveness through the lens, because we're an online university. We look at it through the lens of people opening our content, absorbing our content, reading, watching, listening, and engaging with our content to find out if indeed we are being operational effective. And there's a video out there where I'm talking for 20 minutes. That's a long time for a video, but it's a super involved process. There's a lot of things going on. I'm trying to break down the entire annual calendar for a housekeeping department. It's a lot to go over. And people are getting 2 minutes into it, 3 minutes into it. I think we had like an average of, I think at the end of the day, I think our average was like almost 4 minutes, but like under 4 minutes, like 3 minutes and 40 seconds or something was like our average. And so we're like, you know what? Let's do this. Let's break this 20-minute video up into 4-minute videos and see if that helps. And just by breaking the video up, instead of one 20-minute video, we had 5 4-minute videos. You would not believe, but not everybody watched every video, but the amount of time spent watching the videos and People were literally seeing the end part, which is, I would argue, perhaps one of the most important, not just seeing me begin and how I started to set up our housekeeping and laundry job routines, but actually how they came together. Instead of, because nobody was even fast forwarding. Now with the videos chopped up in these 4-minute blocks, people were literally just jumping to the end, which is fine. You don't need to watch you're already paying for the service. It doesn't hurt my feelings if you'd rather just see how it ends instead of, just seeing the end document and trying to copy and paste or create your document by the way it looks rather than walking through every step with me. If you need me to walk you through every step, great. But if you just want to look at what it looks like so you can create your own, that's great too. And my point is, by tracking the amount of engagement we were having on these videos, we were able to break the videos down to be even more effective for our students, for our customers. And I think that is what you do with business operations. That's what you do with operational effectiveness. That's why you look. You look to solve the problem, to create less space between your product or service and your customer. That is the entire point that I'm trying to make here. I think it's the whole entire point that Walmart's going through with Amazon. I think it's the entire point that magazines have. I think it's the entire point of moving the calendar up to the front of the store in that crucial 6-week window that they have to sell calendars. Business operational effectiveness is a very important subject to study. It's something that I think really would help your business as it helps mine to constantly be, like my friend does it once a month. That's put it on the calendar. Once a month, we're going to sit down and just look at our business operations. We're going to look at what we're tracking, how we're tracking, what metrics we use. That's important too. You have to know, how do you know it's working or not? What are you tracking? What is the right mechanism? A lot of times on social media, I do a weekly newsletter. Let me put it like this. I do a weekly newsletter. And every week my newsletter goes out to however many people are on our subscriber list. And it's just 99% of the time, it's all story-based. I'm a storyteller, so it's all about business operations, about management operations, about housekeeping. It's called Talking Dirty with Ralph Peterson. Look it up. You can get it. Ralph Peterson. It's free. It's a free webinar newsletter. But the point is that we track how many people read or open our newsletter, and we call that an open rate. And we know, because we try everything. We try to put video in there. Nobody watches the video. We try to use bulleted subject lines. It doesn't do as well as a storyline. My readers, my audience, knows me for being a storyteller. And so if I start a newsletter with quotes, as in I got dialogue, the open rate goes through the roof. Everybody loves the way I tell a story, which is great. But see, I know that. And I only know that because I pay attention to both my open rate and how my open rate varies based on the content that I put out. That is the point, my friends. Understanding what you're tracking, how you're tracking, what you're tracking, and then taking that information and trying to make sure that you are even more your business is even more effective. Now, before I get out of here for the day, I do want to talk a little bit about Mr. Rush Limbaugh. Mr. Rush Limbaugh, he passed away last week, maybe the week before, and kind of try to figure out what to say, what to do, how to do whatever it is I want to do here. And really what I want to do is just I really want to appreciate not only Rush Limbaugh for what he did for me. And quick story, I don't have a lot of time, but quick story. I found Rush Limbaugh. I was doing a radio show in 1988, 1989. I was in a real terrible place in my life. I was very victim orientated. Nothing was ever my fault. And I was born, with some people like, well, I was born with a wooden spoon. I didn't even have a spoon, and I blamed everybody else as you do when you're a young kid. And I didn't really have any perspective. And I heard this guy on a radio show, on this radio program, and he really challenged me to take some responsibility and accountability and to, appreciate and understand the position that I'm in, and that if I don't like where I am, I can get another job. If I don't have enough education, I can go back to school. If I don't like who I'm with, I can go be with someone else. If I don't like where I live, I can move, and although those things don't sound like super easy, and they're not easy, but they are doable. They are possible. This is possible. And he was the first person to ever put it like that to me. And it really resonated with me at the time. And I've been a fan of his ever since. And I've looked at him for guidance and assurance and hope and leadership for 25, almost 30 years now. And it is 30 years now, actually. And I'm going to miss him greatly. And he's not the only person who I look up to, and he's not the only person who's had a significant impact on my life. And I just want to appreciate everybody in a sincere way who has reached out and spoke boldly about their truth and what it means to be right and good, and to take personal responsibility and not take excuses from people, and to ask people to be better than they are, because that's what he did to me. And he put me in a place where I could be better than I was and am now, because of not only him, but people like him. So if you are one of those people who are on social media and you're sharing these memes about, being humble and being good and working hard and doing the right thing, then I salute you too, because that's what Rush Limbaugh was doing all those years ago on radio. And I really appreciated that about him, and appreciate that about you. Until next week, enjoy yourself, work hard, and know your numbers. All right, my friends, that's it for me.